The views expressed on Voices are those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the SIU Board of Trustees, Southern Illinois University Edwardsville, or WSIE Radio.
Good Sunday evening and welcome to another episode of Voices. I'm Hank Thompson.
And I'm Reverend Darrell Gray.
And boy, we are pleased to be here with you on this fine fall evening. We're going to speak with Sylvester Brown Jr., our very own Sylvester Brown Jr. He's a journalist, outstanding journalist. He's a TV talk show host now on the new streaming channel TV. AH.
That's what happens when people work with you, Hank. They go on to greater, bigger, and better things.
I wish they'd take me with them sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He is also the author of a new book titled Gateway Gas. And that's a St. Louis story. That's as much as I know about it. Right. All right. Let's bring on Sylvester Brown, man. Former publisher of Take 5 magazine. He's now TV commentator, got his own show on RTV.
I was interviewed by Sylvester one time. Very, very professional interviewer.
Was he?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. Very articulate guy. Sylvester, how are you on this fine Sunday evening?
Good evening, Reverend Gray. Hank, how you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. You good too, though, brother? Can I get a boss money, something?
Take us to lunch or something,
on,
man.
Come on, do something for you, brother. You got
COVID. Yeah, COVID's almost over. I mean, I'll wear my mask
too. He is also authored. This is not his first effort, but Gasway. What is it? Gasway. Gateway Gas. Gateway. So that's what happened. See, back in the day, I would have books. I would receive copies of books to preview.
Right.
But we understand now that. Anyway, Sylvester, welcome back to Voices. You've been with us on more than one occasion.
Yes, always.
Where do we begin? You want to begin with your novel? I certainly also want to talk about your new TV gig and what have you. So you take it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you. Gateway Gas is a 40-year endeavor. I started writing it before I even knew I was going to be a writer. I used to work for Leclerc Gas Company, and I was hired in 1977. We were the last of the affirmative action hires. So I would just jot down things. This was around the time when the drug testing was being initiated under Ronald Reagan, I think early 80s. And so me and the fellows, who imbibed occasionally, we were trying to fight it, because we recognized it was fully random drug testing. And we recognized that that our names were coming up after vacations and long weekends. So even back then, I was a bit of a radical. So I was trying to get the brothers, to hire a lawyer. We do a class action suit, yada, yada, yada. It went nowhere. Anyway, I started taking notes about that whole scenario. And this idea came about. What if there was a conspiracy to hire affirmative action Negroes? So I just jotted that down and, played around with it and just kept adding to it over the years, over 40 years. And I knew at some point it was going to be a novel, but I just never really took writing novels seriously. I've written 2 books, and as you know, I've been writing in St. Louis for 30 years. But I guess 2 years ago, I got the idea that this could actually be. Actually, I got involved with a young lady who's a writer, and she was writing her novel, and I was like, "You're not going to beat me." So I actually went to work on the novel. It took me about maybe 6 months to a year to tell a story, and it's a story about a journalist who's very successful, but yet he has demons. He back in the 80s, he wrote a story about this conspiracy at Leclerc Gas Company, but it's Gateway Gas, and it led to one of the young men committing a mass murder at the gas company. So that story made him a star, but he never told anybody about his personal involvement, how he felt somewhat guilty about this mass murder. So it's about him coming to grips to that, and his editor gives him this story that's aimed at pulling him back into who he really was, a great writer. So he meets this woman who's accused of killing her child, and through her, we not only dig into her case, but she somehow knows about his secrets and pulls that out of him. So it's a story of redemption, really, but it's based on my life in so many ways.
Wow.
The title, Gateway Gas.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you?
Well, I couldn't
Settle
call
on
it the
that.
Creed Gas.
No, Gateway Gas.
Right,
Okay.
there you go.
Okay, I'm
There
slow.
you
I'm
go.
slow.
There
Okay,
you go.
for
There you
us
go.
slow people. Okay.
So yeah. So it's a story really about not only about the things I just mentioned, but it's also about journalism and his fight with how mass media has changed since he started. He started out with a black newspaper like Take 5, and he went to work for a major newspaper like the Post-Dispatch. But it also chronicles how the media has changed, since the late 1990s till now, how it became this multi-conglomerate money machine, and the birth of things like Fox News. And, so it just chronicles all these changes within this story about this mass murder.
Mm-hmm.
Sylvester, in this age of digital everything,
Yeah.
Are you encouraged? You're an author.
Yeah.
Are you encouraged that you finally got this labor of love completed? Encouraged on one side, but how do you, as a author, trying to get your book through, how do you maneuver through that in a digital age?
Yeah, well, you got several questions in that. Self-publishing spoke to me. I'm an entrepreneur by nature. I just do it. I don't wait for anybody's permission.
Okay.
So that's how I started Take 5 and other things. So it appealed to me that I would be in control of my own destiny and that I would not have to give the publishing company, 60% of the revenue, But on the flip side of that, you don't have all the resources of the publishing company.
Right.
So you have to self-publish and self-push. And that's very, very challenging. But I think I'm more comfortable in this lane. Of course, everybody wants to be discovered and picked up and pushed. I've also written a screenplay for the book. So, that is the challenge. How do you get to the right people? A lot of people don't respect self-publishers. So you have to make your own case and do your own promoting, do your own pushing. But if it ever works out, I think I'll be in a much more advantageous position, like musicians who own their own music and own roles.
Right.
That's one in it. But you asked about my concerns in this digital age, and I am very, very, very concerned. If you look at recent events like the January 6th insurrection,
right?
If you look at even the recent pushback with Dave Chappelle,
right?
People are taking this media thing and turning it into a weapon. People who didn't have the backing or the validation now do. So whatever they think is right, and because they have the media to publicize it and to give them immediate attention, it's a very, very dangerous tool. And I mentioned Dave Chappelle because I see very little difference between the folks who stormed the Capitol based on their beliefs and these people who think that it's okay to destroy careers because they don't like what you say or they don't like a joke. So, it's a two-edged sword, Reverend Gray.
But it's First Amendment, First Amendment, Sylvester.
It's a beautiful, powerful weapon. I mean, we've taken down dictators and crooked politicians and challenged Wall Street, the Arab Spring. All that was because we had this massive, powerful global tool. But with every great tool comes great responsibility. And the thing that bothers me is just and Martin Luther King spoke to this. The empowerment of ignorance. How any stupid idea, let's look at critical race theory, not even a thing, but because mass media has made it a thing, now you got politicians being elected who are opposing something that doesn't even exist in most public schools.
A theory.
That's a sign of the stupidity and the power of this mass media tool. So I think we're still in an experiment stage of what we're going to do with this thing. But my fear is that the stupid, the uninformed, are gaining more and more power, and can do more and more damage, especially in the political and social arena.
It's been weaponized
Yeah.
without a doubt. You know, something that was created to inform, to educate,
Yeah.
to move people to a better place and what have you. It's almost like been reversed. So you said something though that kind of struck me as a independent sort of guy, and I know that you have always been an independent sort of guy, sort of out of the mainstream and what have you, and you made your bones that way, vis-a-vis Take Five, a short stint at the Post-Dispatch, and because of those kinds of qualities, guys like yourself, guys like me, we find ourselves having to, create our own space, if you will, because independence, an independent thought, an independent thinking person is a danger to other people. They perceive you as being dangerous. Am I right?
Yeah, they do. They do. And I guess that's part of the territory. There's a lot of jealousy. And I think really it is self-reflection. People who don't have the courage to do certain things, they attack you because you're doing something that they can't do. So your success is an indictment of their own failures. So yeah, that comes up, but it's par for the course.
Yeah,
but you've been a journalist for a long time, and Hank has a point. That perception that is out there, whatever that perception is, that perception that precipitated the January 6th insurrection. So that perception that's out there, if it is not challenged by journalists and journalism and creditable journalists. I mean, isn't that part of the responsibility?
It is, and you know what, Reverend Gray, I am so proud of the Fourth Estate. And when Donald Trump started that whole fake news thing and attacked, the Washington Post and the New York Times and all these other institutions as fake news, they didn't buckle. In fact, they doubled down. I think the New York Times has done a yeoman's job of exposing his nonsense. So is the Washington Post. So is CNN. So is a lot of other news channels. So I think that mass media in general, mainstream media, has risen to the challenge. It's not to say that they're perfect, but they have proved. I saw something with the Washington Post recently that said democracy dies in the darkness. And that is so true. Without people exposing this stuff and constantly exposing it, we don't have a shot. Anything could happen. And it's happening anyway because this alternative news media is almost as powerful as mainstream media. So we got some work to do.
And when you couple that with Russian interference,
they give it a little boost, right?
Give it a little boost. They give it a little boost.
Little eugenics here, right?
Man.
Hey, listen, let's talk about RTV. Let's talk about your new program. I had the devil. I reached out to Stephanie Wilkins with Smile Magazine. I said, how do I get this thing? How do I, the guy's been on the show. I want to find the streaming channel and what have you. So now it's pretty simple. But it took me a minute to find it,
Hank, I can't even imagine you being technologically challenged.
Well, if technology wouldn't change every day, I wouldn't be. I'm up to date this week, and next week I don't know from nothing, But seriously though, you simply go through Roku. I think that was the route that I used, Roku, and I was able to find it. Tell us about your TV show.
Okay, well, first of all, you're right. I had trouble finding it too. I mean, it's a new network.
It's a new network, yeah.
I got mine through Fire TV. So anyway, mine. When Andre Holman, the producer, approached me, he asked me what I would like to. I said I wanted to do like a Charlie Rose type show, one-on-one, where I'm sitting next to an individual and just having a real conversation. I said, I like to talk to local people and national people when they come to town. So I did my pilot episode was with Ron Himes, but the one we just finished, and neither one of these have aired yet. I'm not sure when the date is coming up. I'll let you know. But my second interview was with Dr. Donald Suggs, and I can't wait for it to show because, me and Doc go way back, and we were not the best of friends back in the day, as you recall, when I had Take Five and we were constantly battling each other. But when I got let go from the Post-Dispatch, Dr. Suggs was one of the first ones to came to my defense, number one, and to offer his help. When I started the Sweet Potato Project, he was the first one there. And as you know, within the last 2 years, I'm now a Deaconess Fellow with the St. Louis American. Deaconess reached out to the American and said, we want to pay for a journalist to write about COVID's impact on the black community.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We want him to write narrative stories. And both Dr. Suggs and the editor at the time, Chris King, chose me.
Yes, that's great.
And they actually chose me. And Dr. Suggs has every reason in the world, not to support me.
Yeah.
So it was an honor to have this. I mean, Dr. Suggs is 89.
I'm gonna leave that alone. I could say a lot of things.
No,
I love Don. We go way back too. I mean, we had a friendship of that included going to ball games and parties and things of that sort. I have nothing but respect for him and what have you. He's a remarkable Renaissance man. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we still need more independent print journalists, print mediums such as the Take Five. We have too much co-opting going on. Advertisers and what have you. Not a lot of objectivity.
That was hard, man. Yeah, that was. I mean, I wanted Take Five to be the Riverfront, the Black Riverfront Times, and it was. But the advertising, I mean, we never made money.
Yeah,
we got a lot of respect and awards, but never really made money.
Yeah,
but it did give us a balance. I mean, there was at that time it was me, Dr. Suggs, it was you on radio, it was Liz Brown. I mean, black folks had a wealth of information from
the
all
St. Louis
sources.
Argus, the St. Louis Sentinel. It was funny when I look back. What they were all supportive, all black, through and through. But again, that's a subject for another. I mean, they were never able to be independent. Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you've got to pay people, you got to have a staff. You got to pay people. And these were not, with the exception of the Argus, these were not for-pay publications.
Exactly.
So now it goes back to that political thing. You feed me, I feed you.
But it is, I mean, the market too. I mean, listen, I published a newspaper for 3 years in Nova Scotia, Canada, of all places.
Oh, wow.
And I was able to kind of stay afloat because of advertising. But I was the only black publication.
Yeah.
And so, advertisers were not spending money on my publication for advertising purposes. They were doing it for promotional.
Sure,
it's just PR.
Right. Well, it's life as we know it in America. That is for sure. Hey, Sylvester, we're out of time, of course. And again, the book is titled Gateway Gas.
Yep, you can get it at Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
There's always on my Facebook page. You can look up Sylvester Brown on Facebook, and you'll see links there. But or just Google it, and you'll find it.
Okay. But and the show, the TV show, the streaming show is on TV.
Yes, it's called Take 5 Live, and again, it hasn't premiered yet.
Okay.
Any day now, I would definitely let you guys know.
All right, my man Sylvester Brown. Let's pick up his book, Amazon.com. Gateway Gas. Let's look for his show, Take 5, once it appears on our TV. You take care. Have a wonderful day. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Let me tell you what I wish I'd known when I was